appreciate you so much.
Good evening,
Good evening.
and welcome to the Wednesday, September 2nd, 2026, regular board meeting of the Savannah-Chatham County Board of Education. We'll start by asking our secretary if the meeting was posted. She assures me it was. Will you all please now stand for the national anthem and the Pledge of Allegiance?
Good evening, everyone. I am very privileged to introduce to you the Savannah Arts Academy Skylight Jazz Ensemble. They are one of the premier performing groups in our school district, and we are thrilled to have them here with us tonight. They will be featured on September 20th at 2 o'clock. I believe that's District Live. As part of the Savannah Jazz Festival. If you are out and about that day, you can feel free to swing by and listen to them. They will be performing one of the best and most honoring and respectful forms of the Star Spangled Banner for Jazz Ensemble I've ever heard. This is Mr. Brian Egan. He is their conductor. So, and just a quick note, will you remain standing after the national anthem for the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good job, guys. Thank you. Great job. Appreciate it.
Let's hear it again for Skylight. That was phenomenal. Whew. Okay. I will now accept a motion to approve the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved and seconded, all in favor? All right. What was that? Right. That's new. Okay. Announcements. First of all, students, you'll be really happy with my first announcement. September 7th, all district offices and schools will be closed. And the adults. And the adult, everybody's happy. All right. The 2026-27 United Way kickoff luncheon is September 10th at the Savannah Convention Center at 11:30. Our fall board retreat will be September 24th and 25th at Coastal Georgia Botanical Gardens. Nice. From 8 to 4 p.m. each day. The 2026 Chamber Business Expo is September 24th at Kehoe Ironworks from 3 to 7. Our October board meeting will be Wednesday, October 7th here at Whitney. Informal will start at 10 a.m., executive at 12:30, and the regular meeting at 2 p.m. And those are our announcements. We will now have Superintendent's report.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I'm excited to announce the August Student of the Month. The Superintendent Student of the Month for August is a 5th grader at May Howard Elementary School. A very high achieving student, she consistently demonstrates academic excellence while remaining humble, kind, and focused on helping others succeed. Last year, this student earned both High Flying Hawk and High Honor Roll recognitions, and she participates also in dance and tennis outside of school. What stands out most about this student is her quiet leadership. She gives her best effort in everything she does, no matter how big or small the task. She is respectful to both adults and peers, goes out of her way to make others feel included, and she serves as a positive role model throughout the school community. Her nominator, Anna Pierce, said, "She is the kind of student you can count on to work hard, be kind, do the right thing, and quietly lead by example." Last year, she served on the school's pit crew, which is a leadership initiative through the Leader in Me program that helps welcome students and families during morning arrival. According to her teacher, she showed up every day with a smile, arriving early to complete her own work before heading to her duties. Through her reliability, positive attitude, and genuine care for younger students, our Student of the Month helped establish a culture of leadership that continues to inspire other students who now aspire to serve on the pit crew as well. When asked what has shaped her in her leadership skills, our student pointed to May Howard's Leader in Me program. I love the Leader in Me program. Leader in Me has helped me a lot, and it makes me want to help others, she said. Looking ahead, our Student of the Month hopes to attend college. She will attend college, I'm sure, and become an interior designer. Without further ado, please help me congratulate Audrey Large, the Superintendent Student of the Month for August.
Great job. Keep it up.
We're proud of you. Audrey will be taking home a gift bag filled with items from our sponsors, Advertising Specialties, Gulfstream, Georgia United Credit Union, Members First Credit Union, and the Ghost Pirates. In addition, Audrey and her English Language Arts class will receive a copy of her favorite book, Harry Potter and the Goblet, of Fire by J.K. Rawlings from our sponsors at E. Shaver Bookseller. Congratulations, and at this time, I would love for her family, anyone in the audience, to please stand and be acknowledged. Thank you for sending us such a well-prepared student. We appreciate that. And also for her school family and community, her nominator, Miss Anna Pierce, and Principal Pierce. Thank you so much for your contribution to Audrey's success. We wish you the best. And moving ahead, we will pause for some applause with my superintendent's good news report. The Georgia Department of Education has released performance results for the Georgia Milestones Assessments, and SCCPSS schools show continued academic growth, with students improving proficiency and content mastery in all subject areas that were tested in almost every grade level. Highlights include an 8.5 increase in middle school science content mastery and an 8-point increase in social studies, both exceeding the state and the comparison district gains. High school biology content mastery rose by 6.2 points, outperforming state gains as well, while mathematics improved across elementary, middle, and high school levels. School level gains were widespread, with 89% of our district schools improving proficiency and/or content mastery in at least one assessed area, including 100% of our K-8 and middle schools. The full report and executive summary are available on our district website. And I just have to pause on that for a minute to acknowledge the hard work that goes on in our schools each and every day, the contributions our families make, the work that we've done around attendance has been a contributing factor. I want to make sure we pause and give full acknowledgement for the results that the school leadership team, our academics team, it's just been a full effort, and I think there's a lot to be proud of in that data. Four SCCPSS high schools have been ranked among Georgia's top 100 public high schools in the latest U.S. News and World Report rankings. Savannah Arts Academy ranked number 10 in Georgia and number 361 nationally, placing it among the top 2% of high schools nationwide. That's another reason to pause. That's amazing. In addition to that, Savannah Early College High School climbed from number 78 in the state to number 42 in the state, and ranks among the top 10% nationally. And Woodville-Tompkins Technical and Career High School ranked number 74 in Georgia and among the top 20% nationally, with Islands High School also in the mix here, where they entered Georgia's top 100 at number 78, improving significantly from number 129 last year, and also ranks among the top 20% of high schools nationwide. So again, let's take a moment to celebrate those great accomplishments. Congratulations to Coastal Middle School for their designation as a school of distinction by the Association for Middle Level Education. Coastal Middle was recognized with this honor in 2022. This prestigious honor was earned through a rigorous review process, including a comprehensive school-wide assessment, continuous improvement planning, and stakeholder interviews with staff, students, and families. The evaluation highlighted Coastal's inclusive, supportive, and student-centered culture, emphasizing that the school offers something for everyone. And I will move on to expressing gratitude to Georgia United Credit Union for the creation of a new private calming space for students at West Chatham Elementary School. The school was selected earlier this year for one of the 5 School Crasher grant projects. Volunteers worked over this summer so that the space would be ready in time for this new school year. This new social-emotional learning sensory room will provide a supportive and inclusive environment for all students with sensory processing challenges. Thanks to the principal, Ms. Bridget Bryant Gordon, for the nomination, and to our partners, again, Georgia United Credit Union. And I would like to extend a congratulations to Coastal Empire Montessori Charter School that celebrated recently a major milestone last month with a groundbreaking ceremony for its future permanent campus at the former Coastal Georgia Comprehensive Academy site. This project will transform the facility to support the school's growing Montessori program. One of the 6 district authorized charter schools, Coastal Empire Montessori serves students in pre-K through 5th grade. And finally, I would like to recognize the City of Pooler for launching its new Pooler Youth Council for students in grades 9 through 12. This is a wonderful opportunity for our students to experience local government firsthand, serving their community and developing leadership skills alongside city leaders. I am grateful to see Pooler taking the step to invest in our young people and giving them a meaningful voice in the community that they call home. Students are encouraged to learn more about this opportunity, and the deadline to apply is September the 14th. Special thanks to Mayor Williams and Councilman Carpenter for their advocacy in this endeavor, and the City of Pooler for this continued support of our school system. And you can find these stories and many, many more stories on our district website at sccpss.com. And I would now like to pass the agenda over to our professional senate for their report this month.
Thank you so much. Good evening. Mr. Sachs and I would just like to thank district leadership for being in attendance at our monthly meeting. It is so exciting and just such a wonderful feeling for the teachers to have you in attendance and hear you hear them, if that makes sense. We did launch first of all, I do want to thank Mr. Roberson as well. His site was wonderful, and we had lots of delicious snacks. But we released our theme for the year. We are ambassadors for unlimited possibilities, in line with the strategic plan. We spent time together talking about our strengths as leaderships and leaders in the schools, and we'll use that to divide into our subcommittees when we have issues brought before us from the board, and also our specific interests brought before you. And we also had an opportunity to outline some of those, and teachers are going back to their schools and collecting data from their own schools in terms of what issues are most important to them for this year. So after we review that information, we will have a very, very exciting year planned. And so we are just so thankful for the wonderful turnout and definitely your support. So thank you so much.
Is October 22nd, and all of our board members will be invited to attend. Has been the new tradition with the Senate, where the second Senate meeting of the year is the opportunity for the Senate to engage with the board. So we'll be providing you additional information on that meeting. October 22nd.
Thank you. And before we move on, I didn't welcome all of you here today. It is great to see so many people out. This is why these 6 p.m. meetings are scheduled. So thank you all for coming. Keep coming, and we'll keep these 6 p.m. meetings. Okay. Ooh. Shots fired. No. Private joke. Sorry about that. Okay, now we will have our appearances from the public. First, we have Mrs. Angelisa Savage Bryant.
Good afternoon. My pastor said, God is in the renovation business. Sometimes a structure looks fine on the outside, but when communication breaks down inside, cracks form in the foundation. On January the 26th, 2026, a teacher wrote that staff understood they were not supposed to communicate with me because of my formal grievances. That statement is in writing. OCR has made it clear to the superintendent that retaliation against individuals exercising protected civil rights activity is prohibited. So I ask, what policy authorized that restriction? Why did one grievance take approximately 120 days? Georgia Parent Bill of Rights recognized the fundamental role of parents in their children's education. Our own state senator, Dr. Ben Watson, co-sponsored legislation to strengthen parents' notification and involvement. I am asking this board to give every district parent a clear handout explaining those rights. Parents should know their rights before a problem not come in front of you, but to take care of it on the lower level. Cognia expects meaningful stakeholders, engagement, and respect for treatment of families. Respect cannot be selective. Oversight cannot exist on paper. So today I ask this board, identify the policy, follow the law, respect every family, protect every child, because when I come, all children matter. All parents should be respected. Because when I stand in front of you, all 9 board members should be looking and paying attention. All team leaders should be accountable. When I see someone that has their head down, that means that do our children really, do you really care? Or is it the parent that you just don't want to hear? But I will still stand, and I'm going to keep on coming, because there's a crack and there's a light, and the light is coming, and the heads will be up. Thank you.
Our next speaker, Garrett Chanel.
All right, so good evening. My name is Garrett. I'm a student at the Savannah-Arts Academy, and I have some pressing matters regarding dual enrollment. I participate in state-funded dual enrollment for half of my school day, along with hundreds of students across the district. Dual enrollment as a concept relies on faith in students to have the maturity and work ethic of adults who take these courses along with students who participate in dual enrollment. So this is not the issue. The issue is whenever we have school districts who participate in dual enrollment that have access to personal electronic devices throughout their school and work days. Our school district is unique in the fact that we banned personal electronic devices for all students throughout all school days. So in House Bill 109, it states that districts have to make special procedures for off-campus activities, such as dual enrollment and work-based learning. Our district has succeeded in this manner, unlocking our phone pouches whenever we leave campus. However, there is still more for us dual enrollment students to desire. I, along with every other dual enrollment student at my school, have suffered immensely due to this policy, not because of phone prevention, but because preventing students from using laptops and tablets that we have access to during asynchronous dual enrollment increases the hassle that college websites and two-factor authentication in general during asynchronous dual enrollment is. So school laptops are simply inadequate for this. Personal devices are so much faster in loading college websites, courses, etc. So in its current state, the dual enrollment policy does not allow students to properly complete their work. I participate in a Spanish 2001 class. It's an intermediate Spanish class. I cannot listen to what I'm supposed to listen to notate down what the speaker is saying because I do not have access to headphones. This is just simply, I feel like this was just put together in a time that was not really thought through for the district. Whenever we put together policies that unfairly impact a small portion of the student population, in this manner, we fail as a district. So our district could help pioneer a new type of policy for the entire state that allows students to use their devices on campus for on-campus dual enrollment. This would be completely new, and it comes to a fact that you can change the act before it is put into law for high schools. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, now we have Rob Deloach. Okay. And you have 3 minutes. Thank you very much.
Good evening. Thank you for having us here. I'm coming on behalf of the students here at West Chatham Middle School. It's been said, for whatever reason, they've decided to cancel the football for the kids at West Chatham. I live in that area. It's one of the biggest areas for kids to play sports. It's one of the better programs historically in our district for West Chatham. But unfortunately, and I'll read the mission, together we ignite and foster lifelong learning at the highest level for all. And playing sports is a part of the balance of education and playing sports. I am a Beach High. I have 3 kids that graduated from Chatham County Public Schools. And playing sports was part of making them who they are, better leaders, understanding teamwork, working together, winning, losing. All of that plays an intricate part, just like reading, math, science. We understand that. So if we are serious about our young people, and I say this, it's not the kids, it's the adults that make decisions for the kids. And then when it doesn't work out, we turn around and blame the kids. So let's do better as parents. Let's do better as leaders. Listen to our young people. And I'll have a parents.
Hello, my name is Sharonda. I'm going to try to read this letter. Sign is true. So we received a letter on last week, Friday, stating that the boys' season would be canceled for this year. Myself and Mr. Stoney have 8th graders who's going to miss out on the whole season. And it was told to us, and I'm going to read what the letter stated. Dear West Chatham Middle School parents and guardians, I want to take a moment to personally inform you about an important decision regarding the West Chatham Middle School football program. After careful consideration, we have made the difficult decision not to have a football season this school year. This decision was not made lightly, and we understand that this news may be disappointing to our student athletes, families, and school community. The primary reason for this decision is the need to revamp, rebuild our football program. Just reading that, it made me as a parent feel like they were putting the blame on the kids. The letter also goes on to say, we believe our student athletes deserve a program that is well organized, safe, competitive, and focused on developing not only football skills, but also character, discipline, teamwork, leadership, and academics. I myself sat in on a meeting 2 weeks ago. And it was a meeting, a parent meeting, to let us know the expectations of the boys, just what they were looking for them in school and on the field. And after the meeting, I witnessed another kid getting ready to pull a kid into a locker room and beat the crap out of him. And I say that because I feel like kids need like Mr. Deloach said, those kids need that foundation to keep them from getting in trouble. The coach that they had in place, I went to her, I took the matter to her. She knew the kid, but she also stated, I thank you, Ms. Smart, because this is a troubled kid that I pulled in. He didn't want to play football, but I pulled him in because I seen trouble in him, and I felt that by him playing football, that would be an outlet for him. But now we are taking that away from him. The letter continues to say, rather than moving forward with a program that does not currently meet the standards and expectations we have established, we believe it is in the best interest of our students to take the necessary time to evaluate and strengthen the foundation of the program. During this period, our goal will be to focus on building a stronger and more structured football program, establishing clear expectations for our students, athletes, coaches, and families, strengthening player development and conditioning opportunities, prioritizing safety and proper training, developing positive relationships among coaches, athletes, parents, and the school, creating a program that our students and community can be proud of. Once again, these kids have been practicing for 3 weeks. Coaches wasn't showing up, but these boys are going out there practicing in the heat from 3:30, 5:30, 5 o'clock, putting in work and time just to be shut down and tell them they don't have a season this year. And that's just not one school, that was 4 schools. West Chatham, Godley Station, Rice Creek, and New Hampstead. Sorry, you guys. Let me pull it back up. We recognize the dedication and excitement that our student athletes have for football, and we do not take this passion for granted. We encourage our students to continue participating in athletics, staying active, maintaining their academic responsibilities, and representing West Chatham School with pride. This is not the end of a football at West Chatham Middle School. Our intention is to use this time to make meaningful improvements so that when football returns, we can provide our students with a stronger, healthier, and more successful program. We sincerely appreciate your understanding, patience, and support as we work through this process. We also welcome your partnership and commitment to help us build a football team that will serve our students and school community for years to come. Thank you for your continued support of West Chatham Middle School and, most importantly, our student athletes.
Thank you. Ms. Henniger.
Thank you, sir. Continuing on your agenda tonight, in the Board of Public Education Matters section, we have a few policies to review and some action items for the board. First line up for you is item 7.01, which is Board Policy JBC. This is school admissions. This one was reviewed under a mid-period review, in part due to some changes that came down from the legislative body in last year's session, which also impacted another policy that you're about to review. These revisions under JBC strengthen and clarify admission procedures, expand required disclosures and student records, and also tighten certain provisional enrollment timelines and eligibility. This is a first reader, comes to the board for action. Will come back as a second read adoption for action on October the 7th, I'm sorry. First reader today, second reader October the 7th.
Any comments? Dr. Howard Hall and Ms. Corrales.
Yes, on section 3, number 2, when it talks about to qualify for the kinship caregiver affidavit, the student must live, and then they have a list of reasons why that student can receive the affidavit. So my question is whether or not you can confirm whether or not we will look at individualized cases or incidents that's not listed within these 8 reasons or justifications why a student can receive the affidavit. Will we consider a case by case because there's something might not be on this list that's important to address?
Yes, I think, thank you for that question. Certainly, that will be part of the review of each of those scenarios, and perhaps there may need to be some language here that allows for us to take that in consideration. So thank you for that question.
Ms. Grabowski?
Thank you. So thank you to the team for the response about my question for the age. So this is under 2.1, and understand that it is a cross-reference to state law. And then when I look at state law, I know there's the provision for our pre-K students. However, it does not have a provision for our 3-year-olds. And luckily, we have 3-year-olds in our buildings now. So it seems to me we should be addressing this within our policy. I understand we have to follow state law, but we can go above and beyond state law. So just want to raise that as a potential issue for us to evaluate.
Yes, thank you for raising that up. We have had some continued discussion about that. Recognize certainly that we are following the requirements of the law for age eligibility for enrollment, which is also further stipulated in State Board of Education rule. But one of the big things when you come into the 3-year-olds is that is a very unique program, and there's not funding provided for 3-year-olds for a public school system to be providing that education. So that has been provided strictly by an application process and a lottery. So we didn't feel that it raised to the level to be included in policy because it is something that is unique to our area and something that has a completely different funding mechanism.
Doesn't pre-K also go by lottery and have a different funding mechanism?
It does, but it's also from a state-approved funding mechanism.
And I understand.
Which the 3-year-olds are not.
I know, I understand. But it just seems that if we're setting a policy about ages, then should we not have some language, and even if it's language that limits, they're limited seats and they're, depending on funding, but if I read this and I read the state law, it could be, I don't want it to be interpreted that 3-year-olds are not allowed and to be enrolled as students.
Yeah, so I think, everyone believes with the onus behind that and the why behind it, and certainly the ability to be engaging our students at their very youngest levels where possible. And because the 3-year-olds bring a certain level of uniqueness, we don't know how long that could be sustained. In a few years down the road, it's possible that that program may have to be discontinued if we don't have the appropriate level of funding, which doesn't come from state resources. So our pause in part is this something that would have the level of sustainability to truly live in policy?
Okay, I'll defer to the attorneys, but I just, I would hope we're not embarking on a program that we don't think we can sustain. Particularly in our Montessori environment, where having 3-year-olds in the classroom is part of the pedagogy for Montessori education. And we've worked a really long time to get those 3-year-olds into that building. And I think it's something we collectively as a board have expressed support to be able to expand. We change policies all the time. So if it becomes something that we can't live up to in policy, then we can change it again. I'm not going to, if the team feels it's not necessary, then I will defer. I just simply don't want us to end up in a situation where we are acting against our own policy because we set ages in our policy, and then we're allowing students that don't fit within that age range to enroll in our school. It just seems that, anyways, I've said enough.
Well,
Connie's going to mark me down for talking too long.
So you raise an excellent point there. We do have a pilot this year where we are integrating those students in that Montessori provision, which was a stellar idea to overcome some of the other challenges of sustainability within that age range. But certainly we will go back and talk to the legal team about it because, again, for all the reasons stated, it's given us some pause. But true, we do have a plan to try and ensure sustainability for a longer period, and we'll talk further with our legal team about that.
Mr. Smith?
Thank you for your presentation. On this regulation, it talks about the parents being able to register children online. My question is, will there be a paper copy for parents who or guardians who are unable to do computers or that's not computer savvy?
Yeah, so as Mr. Butler is getting ready to provide you a little more detail, everyone should know, and we want the public at large to know, that if they do need personal help, face-to-face customer service, our Student Family and Service Center on 400 East Broad is available for just that type of activity. So certainly, by all means, we're there to reach our customers where they're at. Obviously, it's a digital world, so we're trying to ensure that the references to where that digital component lives and that footprint lives, but we do have accessibility as well through the Division of Student Affairs.
Any other questions? Right, continue.
Thank you, sir. Again, we'll take that feedback all into consideration and come back to the board with a second reader, October the 7th. 7.02 is Board Policy JBCD, transfers and withdrawals. This was one of the onus, really, of part of this policy review that you see coming in. This one, the timing did work for us to get a 4-year review component done, but this one's driven really by language required under House Bill 268, which updated State Board Rule 160-5-1.28 to strengthen enrollment, documentation, records, and withdrawal data, attendance, and agency referral requirements. So this comes again to the board as a first reader, primarily driven by some legal updates that occurred in last year's legislative session. Second reader, October the 7th.
Any questions?
Sure, why not? Just out of curiosity, it says that students may transfer to different schools because of change in residence or in response to special needs. Will there be a list of special needs prepared to attach to this? Does that question make sense?
No.
I don't want it to seem like a special case basis, but without it being outlined. Will there be an outline of some sort?
Well, that won't necessarily be here in the regulation, but the special needs language here included in the policy is referring to our students with an IEP. So that determination will be made by the IEP team. However, there are other scenarios, whether that is a medical hardship or other safety placements that will be determined by the district placement team. So those are individual case-by-case basis where we'll review, but we will not include the list of what those special scenarios are as it relates to the special needs language here in the policy.
Any other questions? Continue.
Thank you, sir. And again, we'll take a further look at that too, Board Member Smith. There may be a way for us to add a little bit of a broader scope on that, referring to students with an IEP or something, or a form of that language. I think I understand where you're coming from, as in special needs just being anyone could apply their definition to that. So we'll certainly look at that again. But to Mr. Butler's point, the genesis of the why behind it is if a student has a unique special plan, such as an IEP. So we'll look further at that for any clarifying language.
Thank you, sir.
Action items for the Board of Education, item 8.01. We're bringing this out of the consent agenda. This would have been for the board's adoption at a previous meeting because it has gone through a first reader review. This is Board Policy GARH, Employee Leaves and Absences. It was primarily brought to the board to make some changes for personal days, which came down as a modification during the state legislative session last year with personal days from 3 to 5. Also paid maternal leave was included as an addition to this area based on state law. There was a concern about possibly the language being a little too restrictive or having a
conflict with some federal language. So we went back, we did look at this again. You'll see that there is a good bit of red copy in here to ensure that there's absolutely no crossover or conflict with any form of state law. In fact, you'll note that the very first line in the red copy that has been provided for the board is that the district shall make paid parental leave equally available to eligible employees according to the stated federal law. And all of this is coming as a second read under a legal review and provided by Board Attorney Holliday. Subject to the board's review here, this is an action item because it is a second reader. So subject to the board's review on this policy, we'll ask for a final adoption to again adopt the recommended changes to board policy GARH.
Dr. Howard Hall.
Yes, this is probably a state and federal law concern. What happened to me back in probably 15, 17 years ago as an employee. I didn't adopt and I didn't foster, but I had temporary guardianship of a newborn and a 2-year-old, and I ended up with them for 2 years as stepping in as a family member to try to keep the children from being adopted. But that's not addressed on here because it's probably a rare case, but I was just fortunate enough that a family member owned a daycare and will accept the newborn because daycares don't really accept newborns. So I don't know the federal, state, but it's just something that needs to be looked into because every now and then it happens. You try to step in for a family member to save a child, and I wasn't interested in fostering or adopting, but it was more like a respite. But like I said, I had them for 2 years. And I could have used that maternity leave at least for 2 weeks with a newborn.
Right. All right. Do I have a motion to? Can I make a motion? Okay, please.
Move to approve the policy and as amended.
Okay. Second? Moved in second. Discussion.
Yeah,
Now,
so
Mr. Cashmore.
on that point, on at least federal law under the FMLA, my understanding is it's called in loco parentis, somebody acting as a parent, even if they're not a formal parent. I don't know what the state law says on that offhand, but I think there is a little more flexibility within how we apply it. That's me speaking off the cuff. I would consult with our actual board lawyer and HR. But I'm just saying, I think at least federal law is a little more flexible.
Okay. All right. Any other discussion? There being none, all in favor? Okay. None opposed? Perfect. Continue.
Thank you, sir. Another action item for the Board of Public Education. This is Board Policy IBB, Charter Schools. And this review was done previously with the first reader at the previous board agenda. We did have a request to pull this one out of consent and place it in board matters as an action item, of course, for this second read adoption. The overview in this particular area is, as we all know, under the first reader, certain changes were provided based on some modifications that happened earlier in the year by the State Board of Education. We've gone through further after it was raised up that there were some concerns about language that stepped on charter school autonomy. The board received a extensive presentation this morning, or this afternoon, I shall say, 3 o'clock during the informal session that talked about the onus of the policy changes and further clarified and stamped the direction the district is going in alignment with the state. And what we did was we went back and we made modifications to the policy. You'll see that red language was provided in the updates to the board to really change the approach in policy to allow the board to set certain values and things that it believes in that are important, but very clearly sets the tone in that policy that the board shall not use that for decision-making, and their control and management is driven by their role as an authorizer, which is very clearly stated in state board rule. Those are some important updates that we did provide to the language, and seeing that it could be interpreted by not the way it previously was written as potentially being something as a requirement rather than a board belief. But the true disclaimer in the updated language is the board's role in acting and making decisions in its role as an authorizer. So this comes to the board with a few modifications from your first reader. It's one of the reasons that you see it in your Board of Education matters, and this is an action item. So we are now bringing this to the board, seeking approval, and ask now that thus be it resolved that the board does approve the updated board policy IBB charter schools.
Moved? Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Ms. Grabowski?
At the bottom of page 2 of the policy, that last sentence that was added about the ability of administration to enter into agreements pertaining to the provision of district source services and the funding of such by charter schools. Certainly no problem with the language. I guess my question would be, I know that sometimes the positions that we provide for charter schools can be positions that are hard for us to fill as well, with providing specialized services and so forth. So I think it's important for the board to understand the level to which we're providing those services to charter schools in addition to our own schools, to make sure that we're not spreading limited resources too thin. So I'm not sure if it's language that needs to change in the policy, or I just want to make sure there's somewhere in there that the board, because this policy delegates it to the administration without having any level of board review in there. I just wonder if there needs to be a threshold at which there's some sort of board action or review or something like that around that.
I will defer to the team to kind of give me some indication of what services we provide. We do provide some services, but I think they are somewhat limited. There's not, we don't impose our support to them unless it's asked, and we don't have anything significant, but I'll, again, defer to
And
the
I
team.
apologize for not sending this in advance.
I think what we were looking to do was to have some level of flexibility and administrative ability to implement this sort of seamlessly. If you know the charter reference guide, we did have a table of potential services, and we've never really done the job we should in terms of saying these are the costs for these services, these are the services you can get. I think it started off quite ambitiously, and then over time it hasn't matched the ambition of that list. So that's something that can be framed so the board is aware of it. I understand you're saying that is it going to be an overall impact on the board, on the district to deliver its mission, because we're giving so many, farming these services out for payment to charter schools. So I think we could talk about having some kind of language regarding that. But I think what we were really trying to do is to keep the board from having to micromanage these arrangements that we expect to come up in the regular course of business. So we can think about a way of providing some transparency to the board as to how we do that. That's really not quite there with our working documents, and then take that piece of overall impact into consideration as we make these arrangements.
Okay, yeah, I think that'd be helpful. Thank you.
Any other discussion? All right, there being none, all in favor? Wonderful.
And next on your agenda, item 8.03, we do have a policy exception to bring to the board. We are positioning this as a limited policy exception that we will ask today for the board's approval. And this request exception would allow identified students to participate in certain extracurricular activities at their officially zoned home schools and waive current restrictions for those particular students. The approach seeks to minimize any disruption for existing students who may be operating currently this way, as we have come to understand that there are some students across the district who may be participating in their homeschool band, for example, when they attend a choice school. One of the things that this understanding has triggered for us is we have to cross-section our policies, where our policies have certain restrictions built in to prevent this. Further, we also want to have the time to be able to look globally across the district at how deep this is happening and have some guidelines put in place for potential consideration where the board may memorialize this in a further policy review and a further policy revision. So in order to get that done for us in this first semester of school, get through the fall season, we're asking the board to waive certain portions of the affected policies. And this impacts board policy JHE, student performances, also board policy JHC, student organizations. This requested exemption would remain in effect through semester 1 of this school year. That will be through December the 18th of 2026, while a district assessment is conducted to determine district-wide implementation, feasibility, appropriate safeguards and guidelines, and future policy impacts. And again, we do have some guidelines that have been explained in your board packet that you have received in advance. Primarily, this would grandfather in existing students, and once this is done, it would not allow additional students to take advantage of this move, because we want to lock down what's currently happening to give us time to do a robust assessment of future policy implications. So our intended outcome here is that identified students are protected while the district identifies and investigates a legally sound and operationally consistent process for potential permanent implementation. Thus be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board does now approve the requested policy exemptions and waive the identified policy areas that have been detailed in this recommendation under board policy JHE, student performances, and board policy JHC, student organizations, to allow identified students to participate in certain extracurricular activities at their officially zoned home schools for the remainder of the first semester, which would take them through December the 18th, 2026.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion. Dr. Brinkman.
I wanted to thank the district, but I need one clarification. We've had some students removed. Are those students going to be included in the grandfathered because they aren't actually currently participating?
If they were removed this year, because at that time it was noted of a potential policy violation, they would be allowed to be reinstated,
Thank you.
but
And-
not a new student
Correct,
seeking
I
it
got
for
you.
the
I'm just
first
making
time.
sure that,
Yes.
yep.
Yes, sir. This action would pave the way to rescind that action because, A, we didn't know about it in advance. Now we do, and we want to take the time to do the correct course of action and be fair about it while we
Yes, and
do a
thank you
review.
for a policy exemption with the diligence to make it a better policy moving forward. Thank you.
Ms. Grabowski, and then Dr. Howard Hall.
And echo Dr. Brinkman's comments and appreciate the team's willingness to be flexible and to take the deep dive that's needed. My question is actually also about the grandfathering, and I agree and I understand the reason for having it. My only question would be is, are there students who may have wanted to do this but were told didn't break the policy in the first place and were told no and didn't even pursue it, and now other students, it's a slippery slope, I understand. But this is also a very limited time, and so I wonder if the grandfathering creates more problems than it might solve if there are students who, in fact, simply didn't pursue it because it was against policy.
Yep. So those students would need to wait so that we can have fair guidance and be able to communicate and cascade and understand how we're going to manage this before we open the door and say that maybe it was something you were considering, so now that the door is cracked, you can walk through it. So we want to just limit it at this current time until we can put structure around it. Because right now there is no structure, there's no way for us to monitor it. And if something goes not good in the process, we would be held liable.
Okay, and and I get that. That's
Yeah,
just a
it
concern.
would, yeah, I understand, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Dr. Howard Hall?
Yes, I would like to also say thank you. This was a fair and a considerate option. So how have you all thought about how we're going to go about with evaluating this option for the future? I know it probably
So
be
there
somewhat
is-
tedious and a lot of work involved.
Yes, there have been multiple meetings. There is a lengthy document that is guiding our process. There is a team that is already coming together to formalize this. So no, we don't have answers to that question yet, but we will within the next few months.
But thank you for providing this option.
Anyone else? Okay, there being no more discussion, all in favor? Wonderful.
Final action item for the Board of Education matters for this evening's meeting. This is the annual meeting where the Board of Education reviews its annual local board governance training plan. That document has been provided in advance for the board's review, and it is posted publicly on our Diligent Agenda Board Matters tracking system for anyone who would like to look at it online. This is an action item for the board to consider and officially review so that we can get into the minutes that the board has adopted a training plan and issue it appropriately to state agencies. Thus be it resolved that the Board of Education does now adopt the FY 2026-2027 Local Board Governance Training Plan as presented.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion, please no. Okay. You have some discussion? Okay, good. All right. All in favor? All right.
That concludes your Board of Education, your Board Matters section. Turning over the agenda for the consent agenda and additional action items for this evening's meeting.
All right, I'll accept a motion to accept our consent agenda. Moved and seconded. All in favor? Wonderful. I like meetings like this. All right, continue. Keep scrolling.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
First, starting off with 10.01, the Office of School Leadership is requesting board approval to partner with EduServe LLC, doing business as CT3 Education, to provide targeted professional learning instructional coaching and leadership coaching for selected elementary and middle schools. This investment supports the district's commitment to strengthen instructional quality in school leadership through sustained job-embedded professional learning. Thus, be it resolved, upon the recommendation of the superintendent, that the board approve the EduServe, Inc., doing business as CT3 Education Agreement that combines previously used services, no-nonsense nurturer service, and real-time teacher coaching foundations for school year 2026 through 2027, with a total cost of $1,022,789. And be it further resolved that the board does now approve the requested budget transfer detailed in this agenda item in the amount of $1,022,289.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Ms. Hall.
I hope that in the future we'll be able to spread this program to more of our schools. The board members will get a chance to be introduced to it at our retreat, but it's one of the best things I've seen in terms of supporting our teachers in their instructional growth. So I'm very pleased to see that we're moving forward with this.
Any other discussion? There being none, all in favor? All right. Continue.
All right, moving on to item 10.02, budget transfer and specialized instruction. The Office of Instructional Excellence, Specialized Instruction requests approval to transfer salary and benefit funds from school registered behavior technicians, paraprofessional autism, and paraprofessional adaptive under the SPED program to professional services. This will be to fund contract staff for 17 vacant positions. Thus be it resolved, upon the recommendation of the superintendent, that the board approve the requested budget transfer in the amount of $1,080,842.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All right, there being none, all in favor? Great, thank you.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
The financials that are in front of you that were in your packet for this month covered the month of July, which was the first month of this fiscal year. Want to just remind everyone that two things generally happen in July with our financial statements. While there's a lot of activity during the month of July, it goes between 2 years, between last year and this year. So the numbers that you see here could be a mixture, or I won't say could be, they are a mixture of this year and last year's items that the finance team is working through at this point to make certain that the items that should have gone in last year are moved back, and those that should be this year are taken care of. So at this time, if you have any questions on any of the items, I will try to answer them for you. But as I said, bear in mind, the numbers that you see for July are still being massaged and transactions moved to the actual time periods that the services were rendered.
Dr. Howard Hall.
Yes, I always ask this question every year during this time regarding the federal budget, which ends the 30th of this month. So how are the schools, Title I schools, doing with purchasing items and making sure that they're received before the 30th? A lot of times we have a big push during this time of the year trying to expend those funds.
Yes, ma'am. Those items, you have to look at the two different time periods. You have to look at the actual grant year ending on September 30th, but at this point, the numbers we're looking at is anything that was received and are services rendered as of June 30th. So there's still time for some of the activity for your grants that end in September.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. It's only 7:10, which is a lot sooner than I thought I'd be standing up here. So what I'll do is take my time. 'Cause that's very much so a joke. All right, so I'll jump in. This is our program schedule. We discussed this over CIC, and nothing has changed. Everything seems to be on schedule as we go through each of our projects. Here are revenues versus expenditures. again, nothing has changed since our CIC, as we discussed earlier. Jump through the current projects. J.G. Smith, as we all know, beautiful, new, renovated elementary school. Really getting a lot of good feedback from this one. We're pretty proud of it. Our athletic fields at Islands High School, the football team is back on there, and we are cruising through completing the team rooms and restrooms. That will be done before the end of the year in the fall. Georgetown K-8, just as much as JG, very proud of this one. The students are back in the building. Gymnasium, the new gymnasium is coming up nicely now, and plan for a fall completion in the November timeframe. Hubert Middle School renovations. These are, we are on track with phase 1 of 5 phases here. The Samet has started some of the finishings in this one, actually. So the flooring is down. We have cabinets going up. So you're starting to see what that finished product is going to look like in the end. It's very nice. And the alternative school at the former Mercer Middle School building, right now they are doing selective demo. There's a substantial amount of demo in this project. A lot of the slabs are getting cut out, new plumbing going in. So there's the demo phase of this project will last a considerable amount of time before we get to that finishings. And Garden City Elementary School, right now the RFP for the CMR went out last Sunday, so we're currently advertising for that and working through the last final stages of the design and the how the students will be housed on site. And the Gamble Road renovations, we're looking to meet with the county this week, actually tomorrow, to move forward on finally getting that permit for this so we can get started. It has been a lot of work getting to this point, and I'm really hopeful that tomorrow we finally crest that hurdle and are able to move forward. These are kind of the smaller projects that we're working on. HVAC at Islands and Woodville Tompkins, we're both of those are going through what's called test and balance. So the equipment is installed, and what test and balance does is just make sure that you have the proper amount of air coming into the square footage of the classroom or the cubic. And Port Wentworth, we are working on the back gate, finishing up the back gate, putting the electronics on that. And the parking lot area in the back. And the roof projects right now, we're looking at Johnson Myers and Woodville Tompkins, with Johnson still in construction with the recent additional change order that was approved by the board, I believe 2 months ago. And Myers and Woodville Tompkins, we're looking at hopefully advertising those fairly soon.
Ms. Hall?
Can you give me a timeline of when Johnson High School's roof will be done? I know Mrs. Davidson said that they met some problems in doing it, but it has been an extended amount of time.
It has, and we're looking at the end of the year this year, being complete with that. There's a substantial amount of structural, the soffit around the building during the original construction that was missed. And so we had to go back in, and there's a lot of steel that's going to have to be put in, which causes a lot of extension on their schedule. And that's what we're dealing with now.
That's going to be a nice Christmas gift.
It is. But it is absolutely. Everyone should go on Google Earth and go look at that roof. It is. It's a sight to be seen. It's a very beautiful roof. If there ever was one. Very beautiful. It really, there's a flower on top, actually, so it's called a flower. So West Chatham, I know there was a question about the schedule at West Chatham, so I'm actually going to go through these projects and just give a quick schedule update for where we're at with those. West Chatham, we're currently in the schematic designs. We have a survey that is going out to teachers to take in some of those, and we're planning our community outreach meetings as we speak. Right now, that is going through the schedule for the architect. They do have 2 years for the design in that. The construction of the middle school, K-8, I'm sorry, is a 2-year construction window. That has to be completed. So the design has to be done, construction has to be done on the K-8 before I can move the high school or begin the high school construction, because the high school will sit over the existing elementary school. So I can't start on one before the other. So due to that, you're talking about 2 years plus 2 years plus 3 years. And we are into 1 year of the 2-year design time right now. But
Yes,
moving.
hang on,
I'm sorry.
Ms. Campbell.
Just follow up, thank you for that
Yes,
upfront. Then is there going to be move into these buildings progressively as they finish? Or does the whole thing need to be done prior to kids coming on campus?
Yes, ma'am. So I am required to get a certificate of occupancy to put these students in the building. So there's no real way to phase the students into a new building without getting that certificate of occupancy, which means the building has to be finished.
No, but I mean, if the K-8 gets finished and then comes the high school, will the
Yes, ma'am.
K-8 be ready to be filled though,
Yes,
even
ma'am.
while the high school is in
Yeah.
construction?
Absolutely,
Okay,
yeah.
so the 2-year window and then,
Right.
okay, so then we'll have the K-8. So 2032 is not for entire campus of West Chatham. We're talking just the full completion of West Chatham. Got it.
Yes, ma'am.
And then as far as the track, field, all of that, is that going to be going in conjunction with the other things?
That portion, as soon as we get that CMR on board, they're going to look at this and tell us the best way that they see to build this. Now, the track, the football stadium, and the practice fields are all in the wetlands. So in order for me to get the wetlands credits I need and to mitigate these wetlands, it takes about a year of working on those once I go to the government with those, the feds with those. So as far as when that will start, it's going to weigh heavily on when the government tells me I can start.
Got it.
So I don't want to give you an answer that isn't necessarily
That's reasonable. Thank you for so thorough of an update.
Dr. Howard Hall.
Yes, with the Alternative Learning Center, you know, we have that pedestrian overpass.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's been around for a very long time. Have you all considered maybe painting it or sprucing it up so it can coordinate with the newly renovated Mercer? I pass by there every day and I noticed it, and I just thought about it just recently.
Sorry, we could certainly talk to, I imagine that might be a DOT-owned
Oh, that's
overpass.
COD. Oh, that's CDOT.
Yeah, but I was just, it's,
Yeah, sorry. And so I know that they own we had a lot of discussion about the other cross when we built DEH, so we can certainly ask them. It would be an ask. They're not always willing.
because it's an eyesore, especially once that school is renovated. It's, but just what I ask.
All right, moving on to 208. So 208 was, you awarded the design professional contract to LS3P last board meeting. We are working through with those contracts now in order for them to get started with their initial design work, which is things like getting a good idea of what the building is, scanning the building, bringing in a survey crew to look at the building, getting that information back and getting a better idea. And then we're going to move into actually programming, which would be sitting with departments, meeting, doing a lot of community outreach. Like I said, we're working on that as we speak.
And I may be getting way ahead of myself. In that community outreach, we are including students, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Watch your video. I did watch the video. I just wanted to confirm. That's right. Okay, Ms. Hall.
I don't see Mr. Slats, but we need to tell him congratulations on that video. It was wonderful. I guess he's not here right now.
And the Ron Kale one.
Yes.
Solid too. So 208, no more questions. I'll move on to Windsor Forest Elementary.
So the CMR RFP goes out in October?
Yes, or comes back in October is what we're hoping for.
I'm sorry. Are we
It'll be-
okay? The
I'm
RFP,
in September now. I think I might be a month off. Yes, goes out in October. Give us space for that that LS3P contract to start the process.
Okay.
I think the original intention was to award in the fall, but I think the things are going to be pushed back just with the amount of time it was for the interviews through the process of the design professional. So we're backed up maybe a month or two, but it will go out in October, and we'll be awarding that hopefully quickly after that.
All right, thank you.
Windsor Forest Elementary School. The design professional is working towards that end of SD, schematic design phase. So we've got a good look at what the building is going to look like as far as a footprint goes. And essentially what you're thinking of as a map of the building is looking very good right now. We have put together a staff and teacher survey that will be going out to the principal and staff hopefully within the next week for us to get a little bit of their input on what is wanted inside of this building. So that was put together. It's sitting right now with a finished survey, and we're going to send that out to the principal. So as far as Windsor Forest Elementary goes, like I said, we have a layout, and we're putting together some elevations in order so when we go to the community, we can have people look and tell us what they think of a building that will be in their home neighborhoods. STEM Academy, we are in the process of looking through what the RFP would be towards a design professional right now. So that means looking at what we want in the building and beginning stages of the solicitation for the architect.
Dr. Brinkman.
Do we know where it's going to reside? I'm just confused because, like, I don't know, I'm not an architect, but I would think I would want to know where I'm dropping the
Right.
building on. Okay.
Absolutely. So what we're working on right now is we are trying to get a contract with our third-party engagement individual to come in and to help us do engagement opportunities with the Schumann community, so the neighborhood there, the current STEM neighborhood, the staff at STEM. We have a new principal as well as the families. We historically did a meeting to get additional engagement, but it was split 50-50. So now we're going back and trying to do a better job with our engagement opportunities so we know which site we're going to use.
Ms. Grabowski.
I'm all for community engagement, and I appreciate everything y'all are doing. And I know we have talked, Ms. Davidson, but just for the benefit of my board members, I've also asked that we look at what the historic attendance has been at the STEM Academy to understand the geographical locations of where our students have been coming from. And I think it's important that we think about that, and obviously those other elements that go into citing a school. So I just want to make sure that as we go out to the community, we are very clear that their input is extremely valuable, but we also have a lot of other parameters that we need to make sure that we are considering in our analysis. So I just want to make sure that messaging is very clear.
Absolutely. We have utilized our SIP partners to pull that data. I have not looked at it yet. For the students that attended STEM for the past 5 years to see what the difference would be to the current Schumann Elementary site versus the current STEM site. Also understanding that maybe it could, families are at a choice academy, choice school could differ year by year. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Continue.
All right. Jumping into Pooler Elementary. Pooler Elementary is also moving towards that schematic design phase. We are figuring, if you know the layout of Pooler Elementary, is many separate buildings, not conducive to our security and our new policies. And so what we've done is we're figuring out how to do, much like Hurd Elementary, enclose all those buildings. Their kitchen is also incredibly old, incredibly small. We're going to expand the kitchen a little bit. And we figured that layout out now, for the most part, tweaking it. And we have our survey crews going out there for the civil engineer side in order to figure out how that fits and where that goes. Not a new facility, so we know it's renovation, and we're keeping certain buildings, but it's how that does, in fact, get connected. And Charles Ellis, our Ponding Company is working hard. They've got a program down and have a long list of items of what that renovation is going to look like, including a lot of the what is desired to keep inside of that historical building. We also have a survey going out to the Charles Ellis staff and teachers to find out what's special inside of Charles Ellis, so we make sure that we keep all those items. Yes, sir.
I recently received a compliment to the staff at Charles Ellis from that community, that they were being very sensitive to the neighbors and with bus transportation and everything. Let's make sure that we stay in touch with that neighborhood. That school sits right smack dab in the middle of a very busy neighborhood. Let's make sure that we keep them abreast of everything.
And we've done it. One of the things we're looking heavily at is kind of Savannah Arts and what worked at Savannah Arts and what the good sides of that is. A lot down to the windows at Savannah Arts. I've had a lot of compliments about how they function, how they work, and how they look. And so we're taking that exact spec and we're moving it, among other things. All right.
Ms. Campbell, I'm sorry.
Did I hear something about Schumann? I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am. So Schumann Elementary site is one of the potential sites to relocate the Bartlett STEM Academy.
Okay.
So that's where we're doing community engagement to understand, is that the ideal location or should it remain at its current location?
Gotcha. Another question for Mr. Carney is, before I forget to, Bloomingdale, let me backtrack just for 1 second, but I saw that there was a April 28 completion date, and I know that that works out with the growth to K-8, April 2028. So,
Oh, I'm sorry.
but it's,
Got you.
yeah,
I'm like,
throw you off there.
About in a couple months.
Not that soon, no. So do we, even though that's when the K-8 will be finished fully to occupy 7th and 8th graders, we do have 6th graders this year. For 7th and 8th grade, at least next year, 7th grade, do we know if there's going to be any occupational or, constraints that we might suffer as a result of not being finished with these?
So, yes, there will be.
Okay, thank you.
And I apologize. The minute you said that, I realized there's no slide for Bloomingdale's expansion.
That's okay.
And we'll put one on here. Where we're at with Bloomingdale is we have worked with the architect, and now we've brought in the contractor who built Bloomingdale to start looking at that design. The design is it's what we call prelims, so it's pretty close to it. We're sending it out to the state for approval right now. That should go out this week to the state for approval. We've met with all the departments to make sure that the additions to the gymnasium for locker rooms, chorus room, band room, and these couple of additional classrooms are fit for the K-8. And everyone's pretty happy with that design, and we'll showcase that. I don't want to show it too early before the state tells me yay or nay.
No worries. I wanted to make sure we're clear with the community about that too, and the parents, because I know that there may be a little trepidation about, most that I have talked to love that it's becoming a K-8, especially the way that we're rolling it in subtly over time. But as long as they know up front too that a lot of the classrooms are already there. It's not like we're adding that kind of space. We're adding actual square footage in rooms that are already existing. And so I just want us to make sure we speak to that when the opportunity arises.
We're going to have, I've discussed this with the principals, that the gymnasium is the ticket that's going to be the problem.
Okay.
Obviously, we have to expand the gymnasium. When you think about a building, how do you do that? It's taking off part of the roof and blowing out a wall. I can't have kids in the gymnasium while I do that. So we're working, and what I need from the contractor is to tell me, well, how much time does that take? How much time do you need? And so he's working on that right now. And so once I get that, I'll start bringing that back.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Hall?
I have a question for Ms. Davidson about STEM. Since Schumann served as a middle school and an elementary school, what exactly is it that you want to know of the residents in that neighborhood? I mean, they've had a school there forever. So what is the question and what is the concern you think they might have? Or is it something about STEM itself that you're questioning?
No, that's a great question. So we are trying to improve our engagement opportunities across the district. This would go and allow them to give us any feedback to be mindful of, similar when we do the work at West Chatham for the K-8. It will be an impact on transportation, to have additional construction work going on. So it gives them an opportunity to tell us, hey, this is what we like, this is what we don't like. And so we're doing that for the neighbors at Schumann, the neighbors at the current site, as well as families and staff. Just trying to be very transparent and get the feedback from everyone.
Well, I think that's very courteous and nice on our part, but I certainly wouldn't want that to drive a decision as important as, where one of our premier schools goes. If that's the best place for it to go, then that's where it needs to go. But I understand us wanting to be polite and courteous. Certainly that never hurts anything. But that also shouldn't take a long time to assess and get that feedback.
No, ma'am. So I have, once we get the contract finalized, I have asked for the third party to move forward with that, and I would like to have a report in October.
I don't live in that neighborhood, but I have a comment. I do live out on the islands, and for some reason, the train decides to go through Islands Expressway whenever I'm driving to work at 5 a.m., at 6:40, at 7:20, whatever. But everybody cuts down past Schumann when the train is blocking Islands Expressway. And when elementary schools started later, you had less traffic over there. But if we're putting a middle school there with an earlier bell time, and everybody's cutting through there, it could still take 25 minutes to just get through that intersection. So that, if we're moving a middle school there, that needs to be taken into account as well.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that point.
Mr. Grabowski.
And it also is a school that, although we hope that transportation will change, right now, we had bus transportation there as a neighborhood school, and we would not currently have that as a choice school. So lots to consider on the transportation side, for sure.
Yes, ma'am.
I know one thing, just to give a little shout out, Steve Henry with the city has been exceptional to work with as far as traffic goes recently. I say recently, he's always been a great guy to work with. You'll notice Savannah Arts, if you notice on Victory, there's the new cross. That was something that was brought up by a few parents that went a discussion between Ms. Davis and myself with Steve, and now it's becoming a thing. We also discussed Charles Ellis had a similar issue, and he's looking at that for us. So I imagine with Schumann, he's been an asset, a reliable asset for the city.
If you can get him to do something about the train, he could run for governor.
Yeah, it's outside the city limit.
The county's like it's a federal government project, like it's a state project. We now have a plan.
I'll let him know. Sean can't get to work.
Okay. Continue. I'm sorry.
Questions?
Any questions? I think we've asked them all. Oh, sorry. Ms. Hall. Yeah, forget about 7 o'clock.
Before now. No, we're at 7:45. We're hoping. I don't hear much about Garrison's renovations. And in fact, it's not even listed here, but in my head, Garrison is going under some renovations. What's happening there?
The main East Bluffs 5 project for Garrison is not quite going on as of yet. There's a lot of discussion about what we plan on doing with Garrison, but I believe that's slated for further on in the, I can pull up project schedule for you, but I know that's slated for, I think, 2028, I believe, 2027.
Is there someone I need to take out to lunch? Is that what you're saying? I mean, how do I get, 2028?
Public, we do not do that.
I'm sure everybody who knows me knows I'm being facetious. But Ross, what?
We work straight through.
2028 does seem, for all the renovations that are necessary there, that does seem like a long way down
the list.
And certainly, once we get the program manager involved, we can re-look at our schedule with the staff that they bring and how they see or how they see the projects coming, escalating or not, as far as schedule goes. So that's certainly something we can look at.
Okay. Not being facetious, but I thought our facilities, I recall our facilities plan where we decided the rank and order of things by the necessity of it. So I'm just trying to figure out, how these decisions are made, if that is indeed what we're doing, that you get in the order of your need.
Yes, ma'am.
To get your results.
I think the only one that's jumped in line was Charles Ellis, and that was because of a facility issue that we saw with the air conditioning
You hear that,
and the
Denise?
rotting floor.
Okay.
So we did jump that one ahead.
No. Okay, thank you, Ross.
Yes, ma'am. All right. Well, that wasn't as quick as I promised, I'm sorry. But my last one was really quick, so it made up for it. Yeah, somebody's going to have to go back to it. I'm not sure where it is. You want to do it?
You're doing fine.
What is this slide?
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Ross.
Thank you, Ross. Great job.
Hang, Rev. Personal shout-outs, I like it.
All right, continuing on with item 11.03, fiscal year 27, lease renewal for administrative use, Georgia Tech facility. On May 7th, 2025, the board approved a lease agreement with the Board of Regents of the University System of Georgia for the district's use of space at the Georgia Tech Savannah campus. The agreement provides the district with the opportunity to renew the lease for up to 4 consecutive one-year terms. The lease provides for the district's continued use of administrative office space at the Georgia Tech Savannah campus for the period of July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2027, while the district continues its long-range planning for the future use and alignment of administrative facilities. Thus be it resolved, upon recommendation of the superintendent, that the board does now approve the first renewal of the lease agreement with the Board of Regents of the University System of Georgia for the district's continued use of space at the Georgia Tech Savannah campus for the period of July 1st, 2026 through June 30, 2027, in the amount of $610,704, and authorizes the superintendent of her or her designee to execute all documents necessary to complete the renewal.
It's been moved. Need a second? Oh, sorry. Seconded. Okay, great. Discussion. Dr. Howard-Hall.
Yes, I asked that it be pulled because of someone approached me and said, when is the board going back to Savannah Tech? I said, what do you mean? They've been out all year. The HVAC system was down, so I had some questions and concerns, of course. Dr. Watts provided a detailed explanation, and if she just wants to touch on that, kind of let the public know why it was pulled, because I was concerned based on the amount that we're paying yearly for lease, over $610,000, and you all had to work from home or satellite over at Port Wentworth, so.
I appreciate the push to have the discussion and certainly want to balance the fiscal stewardship we need to have with our community's resources around where we are using a lease agreement. The consideration that I asked the board to have is that we have about 100 employees at that site that do not have without a Georgia Tech lease agreement, would not have a work location. And yes, we were dispersed for 3 weeks in August due to HVAC, and I would like to extend a thank you to Georgia Tech because they are going to credit our lease payment for this month for our inconvenience. Our employees did not have a permanent place to work, and so people were spread out across the district in every crook and cranny, adding to the staff that's already at Port Wentworth, sitting in training rooms and open spaces to do their jobs. And yes, we made it look seamless and easy. I cannot say that it was always seamless and easy, and a lot of people prefer to come to a work location, so it makes it even more difficult for them. We are obviously working as hard as we can as a team to determine what available space we have in our district, but in order to convert a school or a school that we have moved out of because of the facility conditions for administrative purposes is costly. We've done that in some cases. Port Wentworth would be an example of that, and we spent about $5 million to bring Port Wentworth up to a level in which it could house staff. And it really, we believe it's more than $5 million, but that was the number we could get our hands on yesterday. And so to do that at Schumann, which is a vacant building, would be significantly more than $5 million. And I just want to extend to the people who were at 208 Bull Street for many years as that facility became obviously not conducive for professional work, that people were in that environment for a very long period of time, and to now not give them a stable place to come to work every day, the thought of that does not sit well with me at all. And I think if we're not careful, we end up assigning value to people just by our willingness to provide a basic accommodation. People ought to have a place to come to work to every day, consistent, professional location to come to work in every day. So I caution the board to just balance that with the cost to renovate a space, if that's the path we want to go down, but also the impact of morale and well-being for staff. So it's more than just a fiscal thing. It actually has a lot more pieces that we have to consider.
Dr. Brinkman.
Can we be given the credit amount that we're getting? 35?
$35,000.
Okay, that was what my math. Thank you. My kids at Georgia Tech, I don't do that math.
Okay. All right. Any other discussion? There being none, all in favor? Okay. All opposed? Okay. All right. Sorry. Any abstentions? Okay. Continue.
All right. Moving on to item 11.04, budget transfer ratification. As part of the fiscal year 26 budget submission process, the district identified a validation error resulting from updates to allowable function and object code combinations. To ensure compliance with the Georgia Department of Education, adjustments were required to be made. We're requesting that the board approve the transfer funds in the amount of $3,041,792 to align the budget to the correct code in alignment with the state requirements to resolve this related validation error. So thus be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board ratify the stated budget transfer in the amount of $3,041,792, excuse me.
Moved? Second, moved and seconded. Any discussion? No discussion? Okay. All in favor? Thank you.
Item 11.05, bid 23-28, moving services. On March 11th, 2026, the board approved a 6-month extension of bid 2328 moving services annual contract with an estimated expenditure of $750,000 to 2 vendors, American Moving and Storage, the primary vendor, and Leslie Regis, Inc., as the secondary vendor. This was done in an effort to support the identified needs of the district to align the contract dates with the fiscal year. Staff recommends an extension of contracts with these 2 vendors, American Storage LLC and Leslie Regis, through June 30th, 2027. Given the scope and volume of anticipated summer projects, the estimated expenditure for the extension period is $900,000. Thus, be it resolved, upon the recommendation of the superintendent, that the board approves the extension of contracts awarded under bid 23-28, moving services annual contract to American Moving and Storage LLC and Leslie Regis, Inc., doing business as Atlanta Cargo Transportation Company, with an estimated expenditure of $900,000 for the extension period through June 30, 2027.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All right. All in favor? Okay, thank you.
Item 11.06, RFP C26-07, Program Management East Bloss 5. The Purchasing Department received proposals from 7 vendors in response to RFP C26-07, the district's request for proposal for capital projects, the Program Management Services East Bloss 5. This RFP was issued to identify a vendor to provide comprehensive program management services in the administration of the district's East Bloss 5 capital improvement program. All 7 vendors were invited for oral presentation and interviews. The 7 proposals were evaluated based on executive summary, qualifications and experience, work plan, and methodology. The evaluations were completed, and the top 3 scoring vendors were selected in advance. And those criteria were a total or maximum points available of 90. The top 3 scoring vendors were invited to the next round of interviews. Evaluations were scored for presentations and questions, as well as costs, for a maximum of 55 points. After this phase of the evaluation, the top 3 vendors were considered reasonably susceptible for award, were invited to participate in further discussions, negotiations, and revisions as allowed by the solicitation document for the purpose of obtaining best and final offers. Thus be it resolved, upon the recommendation of the superintendent, that the board approve the award of a multi-year contract pursuant to OCGA Section 20-2-506 for RFP C26-07, Capital Projects, Program Management Services East Bloss 5, to HOR Program Management LLC at a total cost not to exceed $18,947,692 for the 5-year period, subject to the HOR Program Management LLC's agreement to contract terms approved by the superintendent or her designee, the district's council, and subject to the resolution of any pending protests.
Discussion. Dr. Brinkman.
Yep, just want to thank the district the district staff that I have had time to discuss the process, to understand what occurred, that they, in all good faith, believe that the process was as equitable as it could be. So thank you for those discussions to help us make this decision.
Any other discussion? All right. This is last on the agenda.
Take a break. Go to commercial.
Go to commercial. Okay. All in favor? Thank you. All right. All opposed? Thank you very much. Yeah, let me even.
Can we confirm they'll be at work at 6 a.m. tomorrow?
I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye, aye, aye. Thank you all.